Hey guys, welcome to the third episode of Conversations with Dimi. And today I'm really excited about the topic because it's a topic which I've been struggling so long in my life as an entrepreneur and coach. And it's called, that's why the episode is called The Brand Code You. So we're going to talk about branding, personal branding, and how actually you can utilize your power and also learn how to position yourself in a way that people recognize you and they really would know what exactly you do, how you can help them. Um, just before we go to the topic, I wanted to share first that conversations with Dimi, the main purpose of it is to really help you create atomic shifts in your mind so that you are living your life with more prosperity, with more love, and with more satisfaction. And every episode, I'm inviting people, experts in their field, so that they can help you do that. And today we have someone amazing here, a person who I see as an embodiment of branding and personal branding. His name is Jesse Martin. I'm going to give the word to him to introduce himself, and then we're going to dive into the conversation. Hey,
Yeah.
Jesse.
Hey, Dimi. So glad to be here. I was really looking forward to this call, and we've talked a lot already, so super
Yeah.
stoked to be here. But yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit about me. I obviously I'm Jesse Martin, but my background, I'm actually a certified hypnotherapist. I'm what's called a trainer of NLP, if you've heard of that, neuro linguistic programming. So that's sort of my background. I did that as like a personal coach, peak performance, mental coach, and also helping people through like really deep personal challenges, from like
Okay.
trauma and anxiety and depression and phobias, and kind of got burnt out doing that stuff. It was very difficult. And then last like 6 7 years been really helping people with the brand and building a business that you love, that you can really monetize your knowledge and your experience and really help a lot of people in the same at the same time.
Yeah. So let's know a little bit about the story. You explained a little bit how your story was going, but how did you come back to came to this branding positioning for yourself to help people with their brand? A little bit about your story,
Yeah,
just
I
yeah.
honestly never planned on doing any sort of branding or business coaching. Like I would call myself a business coach, or I call myself like a holistic business coach because that's like the mind and body and your business all together. But as a kid, I remember being like a 12, 13-year old, and I was just this very introverted, but also like very caring and empathetic type of kid where I always just wanted to help people. I wanted everyone to feel good around me. But I couldn't get out of my own way. I was in my own head, always overanalyzing everything and just
Yeah.
like insecure about what people thought of me and like, are people happy? And like, I felt like this heavy weight on my shoulders of like trying just to please everyone. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
Um,
do, and
yeah.
people who, especially who want to get into the work of helping others. A lot of us are what we call empaths, right? You can see people's emotions, you feel people's emotions, and that makes you want to change because when you see that, when you feel that, you recognize there's a lot of struggle out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had this desire to help people. I actually have a lot of interests. Like I almost became a chef. I almost got into nursing and like
Wow.
become a nurse practitioner in the medical field. And I tried all these things, and none of them felt like the right thing as a career, as a job, as like what I wanted to do with my life, my purpose. I even used to like flip houses and was in real estate and was a builder and contractor, and I did all kinds of stuff.
Wow. Wow.
None of it really felt satisfying. I always just had this urge. I don't know if you've ever felt this or thought this, and maybe if you're listening or if you're watching this, it's you kind of have this question that might come up that says, like, there must be more to life than this, right? You're
Yeah.
in a job, you're doing something you love, and that's where I was at. I was like, I love the work. I really do enjoy all the things that I was pursuing, real estate and you know the other stuff I was pursuing in the medical field, but it didn't feel like my calling. It was just kind of like I dreaded getting up and like on Monday morning because I didn't look forward to going to work. It was like, oh, I have to do it to pay the rent, but I felt kind of stuck. And that's where I was at, and that's like led me to like really deeply pursue personal development and things like NLP, which that's a whole nother story maybe. But got certified and got the one of the highest levels in training that you can get there and certification, and like started teaching others NLP and hypnotherapy. And at that same time, I was trying to build this little coaching practice. I was like, how can I help others and get paid for it? And then, I don't know if you've ever felt this as well, where you start to do some work like this, maybe a hobby, maybe something you're interested in. So for some people, it's like, oh, acupuncture or healing work or coaching or peak performance mentality or fitness training. But building a business is a whole nother ballgame, right? And that's where
Yeah.
I was kind of left feeling. That was about 7 years ago.
Wow.
And
In
from
yeah.
there, I realized, like, if I don't figure out the business side of things, if I don't really like take this seriously, like, learn to be a business owner. Like, how do you get clients? How do you build a
Yeah.
brand around yourself? How do you actually find the people that need help and be paid for it and do it in a way that's not just like the hamster wheel of a job again? Because that's where I was headed. I started down the route of just charging by the hour and by the session, and like I was kind of resenting my coaching practice now. Like, not, I was like, I'm right back in the same boat again. At least I started to. But
Yeah.
fortunately, I learned my lesson from the previous careers I had, and I was like, no, that's not going to work. So I really looked to people who had the lifestyle that I wanted, who had the income I wanted, had the flexibility and the time freedom. And I found some amazing mentors. I mean, I spent probably a small fortune, like a college degree, maybe 100 grand,
Wow.
just learning from business mentors and experts and people who really were traveling and were working and helping people and were speaking and coaching online. I was like, how are they doing this? And, here we are 7 years later. I
Wow.
I had some amazing mentors who taught me just basically everything I need. And like, I'm not trying to sound like, say this to sound cool or something, but like, I have a very good income and I have flexibility and I take a vacation once a month and, I work maybe 4 hours a day at the most, if I want.
Wow.
Um, I end up working a lot more because I love it. But, I think anyone can do this. We live in a time where it's really, really possible for anyone with an internet connection.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because a lot of people have a lot of limiting beliefs when it comes to that, and they want to create this, but they're afraid that they can't, and they don't know how. And that's why we have this conversation, just to put them a little bit of, give them a little bit different perspective on person who actually have created that. And you haven't done that before. I mean, it's not like it was given for you to you, that you knew how to do things before, but you just learned throughout the process, and you know the process now, and you can help other people to do that. Actually,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it's
Yep.
fun.
It is. It is. It is
Yeah.
fun. So, tell me, before we go into the characteristics of the brand, what would you say to people who are in their corporate and they want to really create something for themselves? Is there some, I would use the word
Out.
magical formula or something
Yeah.
they can do? What you can share? Because I'm sure that you have people who work with you who want to do that, and they
Yeah.
have, yeah, fears and stuff.
Yeah. Well, the fears are big, right? And let's say someone is in a just a job that's like, you're in the corporate world, you're working in tech, or you're working in the medical field in some way, or you're working in finance, or you have a job that, like, maybe you even went to school and got your master's or you got your degree for, and you thought this was the path, you know. And a lot of us get stuck in that, right? Our parents say, go get a good job, especially if you have a family. A lot of people I work with, a lot of my clients are married, have kids, and it's like, it's really hard when you're in that place of, I'm doing this job, doing this career that pays me pretty good, but it feels off. Like, I'm not, like a dissatisfaction. And I can't remember who made this quote, but he said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. And honestly, I think that's
I love
most
it.
humans. Don't think man and woman, mankind. Most humans lead these lives of quiet desperation. They don't feel like they can break free. Like, if you're a mom, you're like, well, I can't just quit my job. I have mom responsibilities. And it's true. You have to take care of your kids first. That absolutely comes first, right? If you're a father, same thing. And if you're a father, even more responsibility, because, many, many, many times it's, up to you to, provide for your children if you have a family, all of that, right? And it's like, you might be left feeling like, well, I can't just leave a job. Like, oh, easy for you to say if you're single or something like that. But here's the truth is, if you want anything in your life to change, something has to change, right? Like, what's the definition of insanity, or at least the common one?
Yeah.
And if
Doing
you
the
haven't
same
heard
thing,
it,
right?
yeah, doing the same thing, right? Keep doing the same thing over and over, like touching the stove and then expecting a different result. You're like, oh, that burnt me. Oh crap. Oh, that burnt me. Let's try it. Oh, wait, let's try it again. Oh, that burnt me. And the opposite is how most people function, which is, let me keep doing this job, hoping it's going to provide financial security and satisfaction. Maybe when I get a promotion, maybe next year, maybe next semester, maybe next, maybe one more slight, like, just baby change is going to make all the difference. And the truth is, none of that actually changes your situation unless you intentionally and consciously say, I'm going to change something. And here's the big piece, is like, if you're in that situation where, like, maybe you even started something like a new hobby, coaching practice, you're trying to teach or help people, or you're like, you have some gift or healing art. I talk to a lot of people who are like, they do massage, or they do energy healing, or maybe they do hypnosis, or maybe they like just peak performance mentality or fitness coaching or any of this stuff. But the problem is, you want to break free from that grind, right? That, like, literally running on the little hamster wheel if you have a pet. And you have
Yeah.
to know very, very, very clearly one big goal. And it sounds so stupid, right? Set goals. Okay, thanks, Jesse, right? Set a goal. But like, it's about how you set a goal. That's the difference. Is like, set a goal, something simple, like, I'm going to get one paying client online to prove to myself that I can earn money outside my job. Like,
I
this
love
is,
it.
it's stupidly simple, but most people don't do this. They're like, well, I need to build a website and come up with a brand. And I have this cool .com, this cool URL, and I got this logo. I got this really cool logo. And they're like, I'll launch my business when I have the website done, and then when I have the right logo. And I didn't like the color scheme, and this other person, they scammed me, and the website didn't work, and I can't launch my business. It's like, no, just go get a client, get one client,
Yeah.
and like, just set a goal, something simple. Like, if the big goal, let's say, is break free from the 9 to 5 life, or for most people it's like the 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. life. If you want to break free from that, for one, you have to do something different. But then set one goal, and a really good goal to set is just like, just prove yourself. I can get one paying client, or just provide a service. Maybe you do it for free at first, just to prove that you can do something different than your main job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to say it, man. That's a great way to, because it is true. Why it should be one or the other or not both? Like, I mean, it's just you have the job, but you also want to find something. So you prove, as you said
Yeah.
yourself, that you can have this client, that you can make money out of that, and then slowly that doesn't have to be like this. Like, today I'm working
Yeah.
in my 9 to 5, and tomorrow I have my own business, right? Most more people want that. They want the security of. I was having this coaching session with a lady, and she was like, I all my life I know that I can do it. I know, but I know that I can do it for the last 5 years.
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
that's what
Yes.
exactly she said. And I said, but if you are like this, you're gonna end up and you're gonna be 80, and you're gonna say, I knew that I could do it, but I didn't.
Yes. And isn't it
You
funny?
know?
So many people get stuck in this loop of, I know what to do and I know what I want to do, but
Yeah.
getting yourself to do it. And this is like the human condition. And I mean, honestly, and this is, I think, why people need to learn from mentors and learn from coaches and learn and have someone on your side to get you out of your own way.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm probably biased, but I spend so much time and energy and money just hiring mentors and coaches, because it's like, what if that person, and sometimes you can find these for free if you're like a student or you're totally broke, and like, you can find someone, provide value, return, like, give value, and then receive the value of mentorship. But like, if that person can help you get out of your own way, it's like leverage, right? If you think of like a little teeter
Yeah.
totter, like the scales, it's like, if you can get leverage on yourself by getting yourself to do the things that you could and should be doing, that's where like the rubber actually meets the road. That's where like tangible results start to come into your life, because you could plan forever, and you could say, I've been ready, I've been thinking about getting
Yeah.
ready to get ready to get ready to be almost ready to finally launch my business when the timing's right. Like, when the kids are grown, when the kids are in school, when the kids are on summer break, when I have another certification, when I have the website built, when I, right? It's always later, later, later.
Yeah, and here is the moment we talk about that the characteristics, because people say they know things, they know what they should do. I mean, can go outside. I mean, in maybe Google and just write down, give me 10 ways to launch my business or whatever.
Yeah.
But what I want you to share, and we're gonna go deeper with that. Uh, what for you are people who just maybe start their business? So think of these people who want to go from corporate to business, or maybe they are just start a business, or maybe they're in the business for a while, but they know that there is something missing for them to really create sustainable business.
Yes.
What for you are these 3 to 5 characteristics you share, which might help them to really do something tangible in a good way?
Yeah, well, there's the tangible side of things, right? The external, like what do you actually do? But then there's the internal. Okay. That's like the internal planning, the psychology, and like the actual strategy you're using. That's the internal. And like if you've ever heard of Pareto's principle, I'm sure you have, the 80-20 rule, right? For most things, if you want success in a business, right? Let's say get out of my corporate job that I kind of hate, or I started my business. How do I really make this thrive and like replace my old income, make 10, 20K a month or whatever you want to make? Or your business is already doing well, but maybe it's a grind and you're like working all day and dealing with pain in the butt customers and you're like just grinding, grinding, grinding. As always, have a goal in mind. Like just what's the even goal? Like something simple. I would love to make 20K a month. And like that might seem crazy, by the way, but like it's very doable in this like economy that we live in, which is called the knowledge economy. Set a goal. Like I want to reach 20K a month and I want to do it online and I don't want to work all day. I want to work 5 hours a day. Cool. Have that as your target. Once you know that, it's like, how do I get myself to do the things that I need to do? And like one of the internal qualities is like that idea I mentioned of like, just go serve, just go give, go like help one customer, one client, even if you have to charge $1 to that person if you're just getting started. But then for you, you have to like this is something called value system. In my field of neuro-linguistic programming, there's something called internal values. This is essentially like how you make decisions, how you decide what's important and what's not important. For a lot of people, they decide comfort and security is the most important, all happening behind the scenes unconsciously. So when you make your goal of financial freedom and time freedom a little bit more important, and not give up everything in your life, but just a little bit more important than comfort temporarily, that's one of those first internal qualities that like is so huge. And I don't know if you've experienced that, Dimi, where it's like you have to sacrifice a little bit and get a little bit uncomfortable before you get comfortable again.
Oh yeah, yeah. It
And
is
so
true.
that's huge.
It is. It is. Yeah, definitely there is this internal in external game we are playing, and
Yeah.
definitely it's important for people to realize that in both you need to play in both fields, right? It's not like one
Yeah.
or the other, but you just play the game of okay. And when you say internal, it's like creating this being in yourself that it is actually already, like we say in our groups, like we already got the things. We are already the person who is gonna, have these clients and everything. But also, you want to create the actions which are gonna help you to actually create it in the world. Because
Yes.
I've seen many people who work in either. Like some people play in the field of. I had this masseuse like several years ago. She was saying, I always imagine things are happening and I have my clients, but actually she didn't have a lot of very successful business because she was not taking some steps out on the outside in order to create that. And I've seen also people who are creating a lot of steps on the outside, but they are not creating again what they want because there is something on the inside which is not on the right place. So
Yes.
combining both of this, it's really powerful and really makes people, how to say, you attract in this way the business you want, but
Yeah.
also you serve the business in an
Yeah.
appropriate way.
Yeah. Yes. And
Yeah.
like I think that like I like how you said that because it's like the internal and the external, right? And like I
Yep.
think in my mind, that's how I see that 80/20 is like the 80%. And I didn't mention this, but the 80% is actually the internal way of thinking and feeling and being, and your belief systems and your ideas and your perception of yourself. Like, who do you say you are? Like, a lot of people are
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm just not that techie. I can't start an online business. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm too busy. I don't have the time. Okay. For one, yes, those are all excuses in a way and limiting beliefs, because like you have the same amount of time as, Oprah or, Elon Musk or anyone who started a major company. Even if you want to make 10K a month, you have the same
Yeah.
hours in a day as anyone else. And there's people like, JK Rowling, who had children as she was like writing these books and then became, international best-selling author and all these things, right? There's always a way to do it. So you can know that like all your things that are stopping you, the 80% is mostly mentality, psychology. And I work in the field of the unconscious, right? All the stuff you're not even aware of that's stopping you.
Let's
You
talk
work
about
there.
this, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this now, because I think even though people heard about this, it's very hard for them to imagine it. And you are the right person for that because you have been working in this field
Yeah.
for a long time. So let's talk about this internal. I mean, let's call it the idea of what kind of internal you think people might create in order to be successful, to create successful brand. I mean, let's go wide and deep, but also focus on that
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah. To create a brand, like think of brand. This is how I think of branding. Like a brand is something that people remember. Okay. That's the purpose of a brand. You're memorable. Because having the best colors, but then people forget about it, having the best logo, but then people forget about it, or having the catchy name, but then people forget about it, none of that matters. The whole point is communicating to people in a way that they understand. And so the internal for yourself comes from a willingness to connect with people and put your own mentality in their shoes. So all
Okay.
business is a service or a product in general, right? Basically everything. That means you are providing something of value to someone. Someone like where does the money come from when you have a business? It comes from other people. That means you always have to serve someone or some service, right? It could be business to business. That's still a person on the other side. So in your psychology, you have to get out of your own head, put your mind in the other person's shoes. This is how you build a brand that actually is profitable, not just looks pretty. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, can you tell a little bit more about that? How to put yourself in, you know, the other person, people's shoes. So it's like a kind of compassion, like how to be really compassionate and understanding towards other people. And as you say, if you learn how to put yourself in your clients, the ideal clients'
Yeah.
shoes, you'll in this way you're gonna be way more valuable for them. That's
Yes.
what you share,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes. So let's take the most fundamental, like basic way to start a business. Like if I had to I'm going to give you the 2-minute version of if you had to start a
Yeah.
business from scratch right now.
Yeah.
And like, I'm confident I could start a business in any niche. I was just talking to someone, and she
Okay.
wants to start a business in career coaching. I have a client who's does dating and men's coaching and helps them quit online addictions to certain types of images, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all these different types of services and businesses. Okay, the reason I'm able to like help any niche and any industry of like a service, why, and I'm obviously like, without trying to sound cocky, like why I'm really good at what I do is
Yeah.
all I have, this is what I do. I sit and I imagine who is the person on the other side. So let's say you are a fitness coach, or you want to help people with their running or their fitness or their strength or something like that, or weight loss, or just get in shape, or you know get ready for, let's say, their wedding, or get ready for a fitness event. So instead of just saying I help people get in shape, I help people lose weight, it's not memorable, is it?
No,
You've probably
everyone
seen
says
this
that.
10,000 times.
Yeah.
Imagine one specific person, one person. Who's that ideal person? Who's the person that is really struggling? And what are they thinking about? What are the words that they think of? What do they literally say to themselves? Not like, I'm going to teach you the ketogenic diet and the kettlebell ultra 10-week workout. And look, it's a really good deal because here's why. And look at my 5 steps. And, here's my 6 bullet points. And here's why I'm a better deal because I have more certifications in fitness. And like, this is what most people do. And I'm like, it drives me crazy. I'm like, stop, pause. Take all that away. Take all that away. If you had to say one thing right now, what's one thing you could say to this person that have that person say, oh my gosh, that sounds like me? How could you just say something that says to that person when they hear it, it says, you're describing me. So you meet someone at the struggle they are currently at, and in the words they are struggling with, how did they describe the problem? Here's an example.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, Tim.
So let's say, let's give another example. So let's take the struggle of a relationship. Let's say you're a relationship expert or dating expert, or you help people find love or keep love or save their relationship. Very good niche, by the way. If you have a desire to help people, huge demand for that. Instead of saying, I'm a relationship coach, I'm a love coach, I'm a dating coach, like all these things are kind of generic. Try thinking, who is the one person I want to help? Okay. One of my clients, she helps women over 40 who've been divorced find love again. So think of that one person. What's her first name? Let's just say, okay, let's take Julie. Okay, we'll just make up a name, Julie. Imagine Julie in your mind. Actually, picture her. Picture Julie. What is Julie? So she's over 40. She got married really young. She was a little bit naive. She thought it was perfect. She was doing all the things she thought she had to do for a relationship. And she's like, I did everything perfect. Why did my marriage fail? I'm such a failure. This sucks. If you are the person who's like, I really want to help Julie, have compassion. And I like what you said, Dimi. It's like, feel that compassion, feel that empathy. That's the foundation. But here's how you make it into an amazing, profitable business is what does Julie think about at 2 a.m. when she can't sleep? She might say something like, to herself, by the way, laying in bed, dark room, like, how did I ruin my marriage? Is this my fault? I mean, he was kind of a jerk, but what did I do? Like, how did I create this? What's wrong with me? Am I just not lovable? Am I just not worthy of a relationship? I must not be lovable. Something must be wrong with me. Like, how did I screw this up so bad? Like, what am I missing? Am I not good enough?
Yes.
And here, and you as the
Wow.
coach, by the way, come from love because these people are struggling.
Yeah.
Now you could do. Now here's what's cool is in the information world that we live in, there's something called the knowledge economy where you can just sell your knowledge. That just means just talk. You could charge someone $1,000, talk to them, once a week for 2 months. That's a business.
Wow.
So you could just put out a little video. You could make a post. You could just say something like, have you ever woken up at 2 a.m. after your relationship failed? And you're just thinking like, what's wrong with me? I know the other person screwed it up too, but like, am I just not lovable? Have you ever thought that? Well, there's actually things you can do. You don't have to stay stuck in that problem. Let's chat and see if I can help. You just
Wow.
created a business out of nothing. You sat for 5 minutes,
Yes.
you made one post on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, and you could have $1,000 client in a week
Yes.
out of nothing with no technology, no experience. I mean, maybe technology, Zoom. Let's just use
Yeah.
Zoom or this
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
We're using StreamYard. Like
Yeah.
you could have like a couple of technologies. You don't have to build a website or a funnel or have anything fancy. And you're really, really, really helping someone. And this applies to any niche, right? And it's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. It is, man. Wow, that's so valuable. I mean, so deep, much deeper than people. I mean, just with several, several details, man. You just went much deeper in that. And what you're saying, what I hear from you is that you want to talk to the human being on the other side of the screen, and you want to talk with the words this human being, even sometimes themselves they don't understand, they don't realize that they talk, but when they hear them from you, they know that this is what is their problem. and
Yes.
and this is the thing which I want to ask you a little bit more. That's amazing, because I think that's a great, amazing start to really really helping even people without even knowing them.
Yes.
Because just the realization that now someone can identify what is going on with them, because most of the people who are struggling with relationships or something else, they just sometimes they use the words of what's up with me, I don't know what's going on here. That's what they say, but they cannot put it in words, right? They
Yes.
cannot put it in. It's just, am I the only one?
Yeah.
But just by hearing, that's it. Maybe I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Other people also struggle with that, and it's
Yep.
identifiable,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Uh,
You're so right.
yeah, it's identifiable, and then you don't feel so alone. You don't feel that you are the only person who is depressed or feel bad about your life. And because also I hear people who say, okay, I have nothing, I have everything in the world, and because I don't have a boyfriend, I feel so terrible. I'm a terrible person. I don't have gratitude for what I have in the world. That's also people's a lot of a lot of people say that,
Yeah.
and yeah, they limit their compassion towards themselves. I want to ask you, when it comes to the problem, because in this way you also identify the problem you're dealing with, right? When you share this message with people, you're identifying their problem, but also is the problem you're helping people with. And is there a, because some people, I'm going to tell you how it was for me and also for other people I work with, who wants to create really strong practice. They know that they want to position themselves with this famous quote of the $1 million problem, but how actually you do that? How do you identify the problem? That's I think a question which, it's $1 million question.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm glad you asked. 'Cause literally, I was like, as you're talking, I'm like, ooh, this is, if you, and if you're listening, if you're watching, like, if you just got
Yeah.
this one thing, I promise you, you out there in Camerland, like on the other side, if you get this one thing, this is the $1 million, not exaggerating. I can't say I'm a multimillionaire, but like, if you create this, you don't have to do any scammy, salesy, pushy, businessy crap you don't hate that you hate. You don't have to do any of that if you get this one thing, which is what you just asked about, Dimi.
Yeah.
The $1 million, like basically, how do you solve $1 million need? Okay. That's start with that. Like the keyword need. Find a need. Now, what most people do is they say, I don't know, my name's, let's just take her name's Deborah. So I'm Deborah, and I love talking about self love and compassion. And like,
Yeah.
sorry, Deborah, if you're named Deborah, like, or let's just say John. Like, I'm
Yeah.
John, and I love, optimizing the human psychology for peak performance.
Yeah.
And I see this all the time, and I see brands and Instagram and YouTube, and I'm like, what is okay? Why?
What is that?
Like, what is that? Why? Okay, like I'm the human optimization expert. I'm the and I'll pick on my own field. I'm an NLP expert. I'm a master trainer of NLP and a hypnotherapist,
And
and
what?
I'm a law of attraction manifestation expert. I'm a coach. Let me help you
Yeah.
manifest your dreams and desires. Like
Yeah.
it's just so over people's head. You'll get a few clients here and there who love you, who like you, trust you,
The energy. Yeah.
just because they like you.
Yeah.
But you're never going to make it a full-time thriving business. So right now, just for context, we live in, again, I mentioned this, it's called the knowledge economy. What used to be like the physical economy of like I mean, of course, there's still physical products, right? But it used to be like the industrial age is like, cool, the steel industry and created this cool new gadget and this cool new thing. And this is like, everyone in the world needs to have this new. I just watched this whole documentary about the invention of windshield wipers. Someone's like, I created this physical product that no one had thought of for some reason. Like, and then he sold the idea of windshield wipers, and then it was like, oh, makes like everyone in the world needs this. We're past that. Okay. All the basic needs are covered. Like yes, you can still create physical products. Awesome. But if you're starting a business, I love teaching people how to sell knowledge. You don't have to create a physical product. You just sell your knowledge, your experience. Okay. But the problem is most people start viewing the world from their point of view, like we were talking about, and they just say, I just want to talk about manifestation, just fitness in general. I just want to get people fit, just
Yeah.
lose weight. So bland. If you want to resonate with people, if you want to connect with them, if you want to be paid for your work, you need to find a specific problem.
Yeah.
Don't say, I need to find people who understand what I do. And how do I get people to understand what I do? That's I focus. I. How do I get other people to understand what I do? No, you go understand what other people are struggling with. So if you here, literally, I'm going to give you $1 million business idea. I don't know which one it is yet, though. I already know this is $1 million business idea. Ask yourself, what is a painful problem that people are looking on Google for? How do I stop blank? How do I blank? How do I get my wife to blank? How do I get my husband to stop blank? How do I figure out how to and just insert something there? How do I stop? Look for a problem like that. And by the way, Google will give you search suggestions. You just start typing in, how do I get my wife to blank? Whatever you insert in the blank right there is $1 million business idea. Because if Google suggests it, that means at least 1 million people probably are searching for that. Now, what if you found 100 of those million people and charged not even a crazy fee, let's just say $2,000 to really, really, really help them through that problem, like really solve it for them. Isn't it worth $2,000 to solve a major life problem? You just earned $200,000 if you found 100 people times $2,000, right? You just created a $200,000 business. Do that for 5 years, you have $1 million business. That's 100 people. Okay, so here's like the phrase to remember is look for the people that are looking for help. Instead of saying, how do I get my message out there? How do I get my brand out there? It's not about you getting you out there. Position yourself in front of people who are already looking for help. And I'll give you one last metaphor, and this comes from one of my mentors, and it's a great marketing quote. And it's like a little story. He's like, if you had to sell hot dogs, and maybe you've heard this, Dimi, it's like if you had to sell hot dogs and you had a little hot dog stand, like what one factor would you want for your hot dog stand to make sure you sell out and have the best hot dogs, have the most hot dog sales? What is it? The best hot dogs? Is it lots of people, lots of foot traffic? Is that what you would want? Most people would be like, yeah, both. Okay. What if everyone's vegan though, that was walking by? What if you're like, in somewhere that no one likes hot dogs? What if you're like downtown France and people are like, oh, this weird meat? And like, no, we have real French food here. Like, why would I eat a hot dog? So the factor that you would want is a hungry crowd. Outside of football game at 10 p.m., that is what's going to sell out your hot dogs, even if they're really crappy, right? Absolutely. So that means there's a need, there's a pain, there's something of a void to fill that you can help people with, and be ethical with this because you could use this to manipulate. So be cautious with it and make sure you come from empathy and love when you're helping people, because if you find a need to fulfill, and unfortunately, some people are very good at the marketing out there, and then they just sell you a crappy product or a crappy service, right?
Yes.
So do this from love. Find a need to fulfill that already exists. Someone can't find a date. Someone is, beating themselves up after their divorce. Someone needs to lose weight and they can't. Someone who's too unhealthy and has a bad relationship with food, and you can help them with like the eating and the binging and these are all major problems. And I've seen $1 million businesses in each one of these niches.
Yeah. This is very good, man, and definitely finding a need, finding a problem can really trigger something else in the person, and people we just forget about is because that deep inside all of us we want to be in service. And when you find something painful, something people really struggle with, and you fulfill that, you're gonna be way more committed to do it, because you're not gonna feel like snake oil sailor, right?
That's
because most people, especially and I can say that for myself as well. I had this, and sometimes it's coming up again for me, this kind of snake oil thing.
Yeah.
Because deep inside we have the real need of helping and serving people.
Yes.
And when we identify that we are making money but we are not serving people with something really important, then we don't feel good, and we are not as committed as we would be if we are really
True.
see that, wow, I'm helping this person to find a boyfriend or girlfriend,
Yeah.
or to have child, or to get married, and they haven't had boyfriend. They're 40 and they now have a boyfriend. They have a great. In all of this, the feeling inside is you're gonna really go and seize the
You're so
world
right.
with that.
You're so right. And it's like, again, this is why I love this field. I'm a huge nerd about just like selling information, selling your knowledge, becoming a coach, becoming very profitable. Like, why I love this field is like, it's all based on fulfilling a need for someone and getting paid for it, right? It's a
Yeah,
win-win. Like, you can, and by the way, I mean, if you're independently wealthy and you just have your inheritance, or you can just like, you don't need to earn money, great, just go serve people. If you can do that, awesome. For most of us, we're in a job when we
yeah,
start. You're starting out, you're just trying and struggling, and maybe you got your education to like serve people, but now you don't know how to be paid for it or not well paid for it. So it's like, for one, like, give yourself enough love that it's okay to be well paid. It's okay. I'm telling you right now. If no one's told
yeah.
you, it's okay to be well paid for your work. But if you do that in a way that you're fulfilling a real need, that's what gives you the joy to wake up in the morning. Like, oh, cool. Today I get to serve these 3 clients and be well paid for it. You're not even thinking about the money at that point. You're like, I get to help these 3 people and see the smile on their face. How cool is that?
And that's very cool. And also, the other side of the coin, I want to say, if you help people and you don't create the income you want, and you feel that, for example, you are starving, or you don't have enough money to pay your bills, or for example, you want to have a lifestyle when you travel a lot and stuff. If you don't fulfill that, you're gonna feel resentment as well. You're gonna not
So
commit
true.
yourself. So it's
Yeah.
it's both sides, right? I want to serve them, but I also want to serve myself, so I have the lifestyle I want. So when we have this win-win, then you are totally committed to helping people, because you also create a great life for yourself.
Yes.
And I think this, a lot of people who are in service industry, myself included, I don't know how it was with you, Jesse, but I had so much resistance at the beginning to to be paid, because in my head was, I'm serving people. This is kind of Jesus Christ job, right? I'm going there, I'm
Yeah.
helping them, I don't need to be paid. So it's like, and I have heard other people say that as well. People who were served by me, they were
Yep.
seeing it as, but if you go to the shop and you buy something from the shop, are they giving you that for free?
Yeah,
No, you
exactly.
pay for that.
Yeah, and why it's so funny, because this is the industry, and this being the healing, helping, coaching, teaching industry, it's huge, right? In everything
Yeah,
from like physical practitioners, holistic doctors, naturopaths, coaches, fitness, all this type of stuff, therapists, counselors. We get into this work not for the money, but we also have this limiting belief of like, money is somehow wrong. Desiring to be well paid is somehow bad. But like, just flip the coin like into a different context. How healthy would it be if you're in a relationship and you're always loving and giving affection, and like, hey, what do you want? What do you want for dinner? I'm going to go drive there, and I'm going to get your favorite food. And I'm not going to feed myself though. I'm just going to give you the dinner that I just bought that you said is your favorite food. And I'm just going to sit here and drink my water. And then the person's like, oh, I need some love. And you're like, okay, you give them a hug and kiss them and you kiss them, and you're like, you give them the affection they need. And you're like, okay, now I'm going to go sit over here on the couch by myself. Like, if you're always giving, giving, giving in a relationship, it's obviously
yeah.
unhealthy. And
No, it's
most of
not.
us,
And the other person knows that, and the other
and the
person
other
is
person
okay
knows that
with
too.
that. Yeah,
And
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not comfortable with it either. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel good to the other person. So it's actually a gift to love yourself, and love, money's made up basically. Okay.
I
The
love
goal
that.
is not
Yeah,
the goal is not the money. But it
yeah,
is a resource. It is a tool. And so it's like, love yourself enough to accept a high payment. And here's what's cool is like, you can charge. And I know people right now who do this, and I do this with like certain types of clients where I charge many tens of thousands of dollars to help people in a very big way, in a very long-term way.
yeah,
And I know you can do this as well, Dimi. And it's
yeah,
like, and it's so worth it. And here's what's cool is, if you're hearing that, you're like, but what about all the people who can't afford it? They need help too. Awesome. How much easier is it to give if you're making 10, 20K a month? Now you can
Yeah.
give. Now you have plenty of time, plenty of money
Exactly.
because you loved yourself enough to be well paid. Now you can give back. Now you have extra to just return to the world.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are millionaires, billionaires, and stuff, they do that. They have
Yes.
created that for themselves, and they also help people. They're like philanthropists and everything. So
Right.
so, but the most important. We can go way more with that, but for the sake of the time, just want you to go to the last topic for today, which is the continuation of everything you shared. And it's one thing which I think many people struggle, and maybe is the most one of the most important parts is the offer. It's like the elevator speech you have. So
Yeah.
it's like when you meet someone, when I meet someone, and I want to share, you know, what I do, how I help people. That's, I mean, you cannot
Yeah.
imagine, Jesse. I think you can because you work with a lot of
I
people
can
with that.
imagine.
People don't know how to do it. Myself, I also struggle sometimes to really explain it
Yes.
with a clear, concise, and very short way. This is what I do, and people will truly understand and embody what I do. So
Yeah.
my intention for this last 10 minutes in this conversation is to learn to help people go a little bit more closer to that, how
Yes.
to do it for themselves.
And I'm glad you brought this up because it's so important too, because that little positioning statement is sometimes what it's called, or your elevator speech.
Yeah.
Who do you help and what do you help people with, and like how to describe it? How to describe basically what you're asking is like, how do I describe what I do in a way that people say I need that? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Because even if you have
Exactly.
a physical product, you want to describe the product in a way that is like that is people get and they say I need that. Otherwise, what's the point of doing it? If you're just putting out a cool product that no one understands, it's like why even do it, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
most of the work, and I'm going to give you a good answer, like a answer that you can digest right now, and I'm going to give you like the sort of tough love. Okay, so as you're like
Mm-hmm.
your older brother of business, I'm going to tell you right now, the real work is done beforehand, and it's like, you know, and by the way, if you want some like personal like insight into this, like connect with me on social media. Maybe
Yep.
you put my stuff here, and I can just like I can share like look at what you specifically do. So sometimes you just need like real feedback. Same with you, Demi. Like if
Yep.
someone can just reach out to you, you could probably look at someone else's business and say, "Hey, here's something that you probably don't see," right?
Yep.
So the real
Yep.
like the process that you can do to like really get this once and for all is like work with someone from the outside who can see what you don't see. That's like the real work. This is kind of like going to the gym and sweating a little bit. It's like it's a little bit hard work at first, but once you get it, you know it forever. Okay. But here's how I think about it. If you want to come up with that little elevator speech, who do you help? What do you help them with? How do you describe your work? Take into account like everything we were already talking about.
Yeah.
Find a problem that already exists that people are looking for help on. What do you know that you can help with that fulfills that existing problem? Now, if you're a coach, if you're a teacher, if you're a therapist, if you're a counselor, what most people do, most of us, and I started in the same place, is we say something like, I help people get unstuck and solve their limiting beliefs and get through life transitions and achieve your dreams and feel amazing and just be happy. And I met someone and he was like, what do you do? I asked him what he does. And he's like, I help people be happy. I'm like, who's that for? He's like, everyone, everyone needs to be happy. I was like, wow. Like, but how does anyone know that it's for them? Like, what's your business? I help everyone be happy. I'm like, okay, great. Nice to meet you, sir. So you have to just choose that one person. Remember I talked about like, I think we were picking on Deborah or Julie. It's like,
Yeah.
choose that one person. Who's that one person in your mind that you can most help? Yes, I know you can help with a lot, but here's the thing is if you're trying to communicate to everyone, if you're trying to help everyone, you're helping no one
Yeah.
on average.
Yeah.
So choose that one person you can best help. It always starts with that. Then think, what is the big outcome or problem that they want gone? So problem solved or outcome achieved.
Yeah.
Start there. So is it find love? Is it burnout in my career gone? Is it get a promotion? Is it save my marriage? Is it overcome an addiction? Is it like whatever it is you're helping people with? And if you have a physical product, what does your product do? Does it make I have a friend, see these planters behind my head? I have a friend who makes these things right here. It's like you could even do it with planter boxes like this. What does it do? It makes your home look beautiful and warm and inviting and like adds beauty to your home in a very unique way. And then you get the fun of like propagating these plants. Like you could come up with an elevator pitch for anything. What is the benefit to the person? So that's the key. What is the benefit to the person you're talking to? Now let's make that into a little elevator pitch. What do? You don't say I am, I'll tell you what I used to say. I'm a certified trainer of NLP and hypnotherapist, and I help people solve their limiting beliefs and optimize their life and just achieve peak performance and just remove all the problems. And they're like, "What? Oh, cool!
So much information.
Whoa, cool." And I still, I'll still tell people like I work hard for my titles and certifications, so I'll still tell people that. That's great. But if someone says, "What do you do?" I say, "Awesome. I help people take their knowledge, monetize it online by selling information, selling it as a coaching program, or as a course." Cool. That's the benefit to you. What do? I help you take your knowledge, sell it online. Someone else's fitness. What do? I help people lose that stubborn last 20 pounds so you can be feeling confident and ready to date again. That's a niche. What do you do, Dimi? I help people blank. And then you just say, here's the outcome I help people achieve.
Yeah. This is so important to know, man. And it's today's outcome in my head from everything we've spoken is that we need to really truly, our job is to find actually a person who really we want to help and find out what's their problem, learn how to communicate that to them,
Yes.
with this offer and elevator speech. And if we just do that, if we just learn to do that in the right way, we've done, as you said, maybe 80% of the work.
Yes.
When it's 80-20, and the next one is to serve them. Of course, the next 20% is to serve them powerfully too. But just identifying them and talking to them directly, we already created one thing which is the most important, which is trust.
Yeah.
And if someone has trust in you and your knowledge and your expertise, especially when it comes to coaching and this kind of industry, I think half of the work, even more than half, is done. Because once someone has trust, they're ready to do the work to create it because they trust you as an expert who can help them. You become their pillar who is going to be there. And that's not about deluding people. It's not about manipulating. It's a real need. When I talk to people, they stay in relationships. They stay in toxic environments in their work because they're afraid, because there is no one there to help them to really do what they want. And when you have someone who is there, like you said now, and identifying the problem and stay with them, they're ready to let go a lot of things in order to stay with you to create their dream life.
Yes. Can I give you a funny example?
Yeah.
So here, just to drive this idea home, is like if you're in the business of helping others, which I think everyone is in a way.
Yeah.
First of all, anyone can start a business selling your knowledge, helping others in some way. Like we live in the economy right now where you could be completely broke. You could go to the public library, use the internet connection. You could sell your knowledge for free. I mean, you sell your knowledge, you charge for it, but you could have $0 anyway.
Yeah.
Here's a funny example is like, if you're a doctor, who would you trust more? So let's say there's two doctors. The first doctor says, cool, I am the doctor, so I'm an optometrist and I'm really good with eyes. And like, I personally like talking about back pain because like I've had back pain. But then, my mom, she like struggled with her hands and her feet. And so like I started to learn like about that. And I've been reading a lot about that and I'm really good with that. And then I actually got the certification with energy Reiki healing where I can like hold my hands over you and do energy healing. And like, I actually do like hair restoration as well. Do you want some help? You're like, well, we're going to work on my eyes. Like, I mean, I want to do the LASIK surgery. Like, is this your specialty? Oh, no, I'm really good at that too. Like, I'm an expert.
I don't know.
Okay. Like, but your attention's so scattered. Like, I don't trust that you know, like you're the best at what you do. And then the other guy is like, last 10 years, I focused on eyes.
Yeah, That's it.
Safely, effectively. Let's do LASIK. Are you in? Who are you going to trust with your
Yeah,
eyes?
of course, the second one. There's
Of course.
no doubt in that, man.
Of
Because
course.
you that creates, and even when it comes to what we've spoken so far, even it's stronger because it's not only it just gives you the the feeling that you're exactly the person. For example, I'm working with you. You're exactly the person who's going to help me because it
That's
seems
right.
that
That's
you
right.
know me. You already know me.
Yes.
You already know me, and you've been working with that, and I know that you can help me. I just know it
Yes.
because
Even
you
if you
speak my words.
Yes, even if you don't
Yeah,
have a pretty website or best-selling book or a bunch of Instagram followers, you don't need any of that crap if you really show that you understand that specific person. It's like a amazing ethical and legal shortcut to optimizing trust. And I say this, it sounds like you're doing it on purpose. Like, yes, it's okay to intentionally do things to build trust because there's so much junk and noise and chaos out in the world, especially online. You need to communicate clearly so people understand why you can help them. And you just do that by everything we've been talking about.
yeah. And the last thing before we go, because before we go to the end, the last question is, tell me. A lot of people talk about the idea of I mean, when you need to help someone with certain problem, you need to be expert in this. So
Yeah.
you need to be it's a prerequisite for you so that you've done that for yourself. This is your story. A lot of things in this direction are shared. What's your
Yes.
opinion on that?
I personally believe you should be a personal example of the
Yep.
thing you're helping people with. So it's like if you've been divorced 5 times and you're like, I'm the find and keep love expert, I'd be a little wary, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
personally would not hire an overweight fitness coach. Doesn't
Yes.
mean that person
Yes.
doesn't know about that. This is my
Yeah.
personal like and I think
Yeah.
it's pretty ethical. It's like find someone who's an example of the subject matter. That's the key word. Subject matter expertise. Like I would hire a fitness coach who understands fitness, but maybe like that guy just can't keep a relationship to save his life. I'm like, that's fine. Like teach me fitness.
That's all right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to take relationship advice from you. So give
Yeah.
yourself the compassion too. It's like you don't have to have everything in your life figured out. And you don't have to be on the mountaintop having mastered it from all angles perfectly. It's like, have you achieved a level of success further than the people that you're helping? You just have to be
Yeah.
further along. Okay. You don't have to have
Yeah.
everything perfect. So even let's say you're like, well, I've had 3 failed relationships, but now I'm in a loving relationship. You're
Yeah.
qualified to help people find love because you are there now. And so just be further along. And it's kind of like, if you remember that movie called Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio, and he
I
like he
remember.
taught a college course and like, how did you teach this course? He's like, I just read ahead in the book. I was just further along than the students. And he taught the course and the students actually learned it. So he was actually a good teacher, even though he just kind of winged it. And like, you could basically take that approach if you're brand new to something. Just be further along, just know more than the people you're helping.
Yes, that's great advice. So, tell me before I ask you the last question. You said that people can contact you. Where is the best place to contact you if someone wants
Yeah,
to have
an
some
easy way is
conversation
just,
with you?
just hit me up on Instagram. I'm at
Yeah,
the Jesse Martin. No I in Jesse, just Jesse Martin at the Jesse Martin. I check all my DMs, and I post some good content on there. I just do a lot of shorts and, a lot of advice like this, and happy to chat with anyone. I love connecting. I'm a people person. And so if you want to chat or send me a message, we can talk.
thank you, man. So I want to before I ask you the question is to acknowledge you for all the wisdom you shared with us here, and I was listening with a lot of interest in that, and I learned a lot of things here, and definitely I'm gonna listen to that again several times to get most out of it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. And guys, listen to this guy. If you need to go deeper with that, just contact him. I'm gonna put this link, the link of his Instagram, below the post, so you're gonna have the access to that. And don't forget that you are you're very close to creating what you
Yeah.
want. You need to just focus on the right things, and in this video you have the right things. So Jesse, before we go, just last sentence, something you want to share with with
Nope.
people.
Anyone can do this. Like you said, Dimi. You could just be one idea or one step away or one coach or one mentor away or just one step away from literally having everything you want. So just take action, let go of those fears and just move toward your goal.
Thank you, man. Thank you.